The Bay Area, a region renowned for its natural beauty, faces an insidious threat: plastic pollution. This pervasive waste chokes our waterways, endangers wildlife, and jeopardizes the health of our communities. Plastic debris, from single-use bags to discarded bottles, litters our beaches, parks, and streets. It leaches harmful chemicals into the environment and breaks down into microplastics. These tiny particles infiltrate our food chain, with unknown consequences for human health. The fight against plastic pollution requires a collective effort, holding corporations accountable for their role in this crisis. The Bay Area is a microcosm of a global problem. Plastic production has skyrocketed in recent decades, driven by our reliance on single-use packaging and products. Unfortunately, recycling efforts have failed to keep pace. Much of the plastic we discard ends up in landfills, where it can persist for centuries. The rest pollutes our environment, harming wildlife and ecosystems. Marine animals often mistake plastic for food, leading to starvation and entanglement. The consequences of plastic pollution are far-reaching and demand our immediate attention. We must break free from our dependence on plastic and embrace sustainable alternatives. This requires a fundamental shift in our consumption patterns and a commitment to holding corporations accountable for their environmental impact. The future of the Bay Area, and indeed the planet, depends on it. Two lawsuits filed in San Francisco have placed ExxonMobil, one of the world's largest plastic producers, at the center of the plastic pollution crisis. The lawsuits allege that ExxonMobil engaged in a decades-long campaign of deception, misleading the public about the recyclability of its plastic products. ExxonMobil, the lawsuits claim, knew that its plastic products were not effectively recyclable. Despite this knowledge, the company continued to promote recycling as a viable solution, reassuring consumers that they were making environmentally responsible choices. The lawsuits draw upon internal company documents, alleging that ExxonMobil was aware of the limitations of plastic recycling as early as the 1970s. These documents, the lawsuits contend, reveal a stark contrast between ExxonMobil's public pronouncements and its private understanding of the plastic problem. While publicly championing recycling, ExxonMobil allegedly downplayed the challenges and misled consumers about the true fate of their plastic waste. The lawsuits against ExxonMobil represent a growing wave of litigation aimed at holding corporations accountable for their role in the plastic pollution crisis. These lawsuits argue that companies like ExxonMobil have profited from a system that prioritizes convenience over sustainability, leaving a legacy of environmental damage in its wake. Recycling has long been touted as a solution to the plastic problem, a way to transform waste into a valuable resource. However, the reality of plastic recycling is far more complicated and less effective than many consumers believe. Plastic recycling faces significant challenges, making it difficult to process and repurpose plastic waste effectively. Unlike materials like glass and aluminum, plastic degrades each time it is recycled. This degradation limits the number of times plastic can be recycled before it becomes unusable. Furthermore, different types of plastic require different recycling processes, and many recycling facilities lack the capacity to handle the diverse array of plastic products on the market. As a result, a significant portion of plastic collected for recycling ends up in landfills or incinerators, perpetuating the cycle of pollution. The limitations of plastic recycling underscore the need for a more comprehensive approach to waste management, one that prioritizes reducing plastic consumption and developing truly sustainable alternatives. Waste management companies tasked with handling the ever-growing tide of plastic waste face an uphill battle. Despite investing in advanced sorting technologies, these companies struggle to manage the sheer volume and diversity of plastic packaging and products. One major challenge is the prevalence of single-use plastics, such as bags, films, and packaging, which are difficult to recycle and often contaminate other recyclable materials. The economics of plastic recycling also pose a significant obstacle. The cost of collecting, sorting, and processing plastic waste often exceeds the value of the recycled materials. This financial disparity makes it challenging for waste management companies to operate sustainably and incentivize investment in more robust recycling infrastructure. Section 5. False promises of advanced recycling. ExxonMobil has touted advanced recycling as a solution to the plastic waste problem, claiming it can break down plastic waste into its molecular building blocks, which can then be used to create new plastics. This process, the company argues, offers a way to close the loop on plastic recycling and reduce reliance on fossil fuels for plastic production. However, critics argue that advanced recycling is largely unproven at scale and could distract from more effective solutions, such as reducing plastic production and consumption. They contend that advanced recycling technologies are energy-intensive and potentially polluting, raising concerns about their overall environmental impact. Moreover, critics point out that advanced recycling does not address the fundamental problem of plastic's persistence in the environment. Even if plastic is chemically recycled, it does not biodegrade, and microplastics can still leach into the environment during the process. Section 6. A legacy of deception. The lawsuits against ExxonMobil, if successful, could have far-reaching consequences for the plastics industry. A legal victory for the plaintiffs could force companies like ExxonMobil to take greater responsibility for the end-of-life management of their products and incentivize a shift towards more sustainable materials and packaging. The lawsuits also highlight the growing public awareness of the plastic pollution crisis and the demand for corporate accountability. Consumers are increasingly wary of greenwashing and are demanding transparency from companies about their environmental practices. The lawsuits against ExxonMobil could empower consumers to make more informed choices and support businesses that prioritize sustainability. Section 7. The price of convenience. Our reliance on plastic while offering convenience has come at a steep price. The proliferation of single-use plastics, from water bottles to food packaging, has created a throwaway culture that prioritizes immediate gratification over long-term environmental consequences. The convenience of plastic comes at the expense of our planet's health. It's time to reevaluate our relationship with convenience and embrace a more mindful approach to consumption. We can choose reusable alternatives to single-use plastics, support businesses that prioritize sustainable practices, and advocate for policies that reduce plastic production and promote responsible waste management. Section 8. The illusion of choice. Consumers often face a bewildering array of products, many of them packaged in plastic, making it challenging to make sustainable choices. The lack of readily available and affordable alternatives can make it seem as though we have no choice but to participate in a system that generates excessive plastic waste. However, we can challenge this status quo by demanding better options from businesses and policymakers. Consumer demand can drive innovation and create a market for more sustainable products and packaging. By supporting businesses that are actively seeking alternatives to plastic, we can send a powerful message that we are no longer willing to accept the environmental costs of convenience. Section 9. A call for corporate accountability. Addressing the plastic pollution crisis requires holding corporations accountable for their role in perpetuating this problem. Companies that produce and profit from plastic products have a responsibility to minimize their environmental impact and contribute to solutions. This includes reducing their reliance on virgin plastic, investing in innovative and truly sustainable packaging solutions, and supporting policies that promote responsible waste management. Transparency and accountability are essential for driving meaningful change. Companies should be required to disclose the full environmental impact of their products and packaging, allowing consumers to make informed choices. Furthermore, governments should implement policies that incentivize sustainable practices and penalize companies that prioritize profits over the health of the planet. Section 10. Towards a plastic-free future. A future free from the scourge of plastic pollution requires a fundamental shift in our mindset and behaviors. We must move away from a linear economy, where products are made, used, and discarded, and embrace a circular economy that prioritizes reducing, reusing, and recycling materials. This transition demands a collective effort involving individuals, businesses, and governments working together to create a more sustainable future. We can choose to refuse single-use plastics whenever possible, opting for reusable alternatives. We can support businesses that are actively seeking sustainable solutions and advocate for policies that promote responsible production, consumption, and waste management. Section 11. Every action matters. The fight against plastic pollution may seem daunting, but every action we take, no matter how small, can make a difference. By making conscious choices in our daily lives, we can reduce our own plastic footprint and contribute to a collective movement for change. Refusing a plastic straw, carrying a reusable water bottle, and bringing our own bags to the grocery store are simple yet powerful acts of defiance against a throwaway culture. By sharing our knowledge, raising awareness, and advocating for change, we can inspire others to join the movement for a plastic-free future. Remember, each small step we take collectively can create a ripple effect, leading to a cleaner, healthier planet for generations to come.